What the Air Force said they saw were mannequins. These mannequins, which were over 6 feet tall.
Well, we've done some checking on that story, and the dummies weren't used until 1953, 6 years after the event happened.
Today, Roswell investigators know they need more solid evidence to prove that aliens exist.
If we were able to take some physical evidence and have it tested and prove without doubt, scientifically, that it is not from Earth, then I think we would start getting some support, and that would be my holy grail.
For most people, the biggest question is why the government would expend so much energy for so long to cover up the existence of aliens. The answer may lie somewhere along Nevada State Highway 375, otherwise known as the Extraterrestrial Highway, for the many UFO sightings that have been reported along this lonely stretch of road. About 90 miles north of Las Vegas lies a block of government land known as Area 51.
Area 51, one of the most infamous places on planet Earth.
Just 15 minutes away from Area 51 is the Little Alien, a kitschy spot where visitors can grab a cold drink and soak up some local information.
I've had people from NATO here. We've had CIA. We've had you name it, we've had it. It's just an interesting place. People have, they have a need for knowing what goes on beyond the mountain range.
For years, rumors have circulated that within Area 51 is a large Air Force base where top-secret military testing and experiments occur.
Area 51 probably has Aurora aircraft, the successor of the SR-71. I know it's got a lot of, they're called unmanned aerial vehicles. These are these remote-controlled devices, which can even fire rockets.
Area 51 is exempted from federal, state, interstate, and local environmental laws. And when questioned, the government's response is no comment.
There's quite a bit that happens just over the mountains here.
You see military exercises, you see flares, you see airplanes, helicopters, unmanned vehicles. Other than that, you see things you can't explain.
It's difficult to locate Area 51 since it's not on any map. The airspace over the area is heavily restricted, and high fences surround the perimeter. Trespass here at your own risk.
If you're on the ground, there are sensors all over the place to pick up motion of things that shouldn't be there. And as one guy called them, the camo dudes, guys in camouflage outfits in their jeeps will come traipsing after you. If you're in the air, they will send fighters up after you.
The helicopters have some serious armament. When they shoot you, you're going to be dust.
But there's one rumor that always generates the most excitement.
I thought that they had reverse engineered the spacecraft that supposedly they found crashed in this area.
That rumor stems from the experience of Bob Lazar, who claims he worked at an ultra-secret division of Area 51 called S4.
S4 was built and maintained only for one reason, and that was to house and to test any other recovered alien technology vehicles.
Lazar says he was a trained physicist at the Los Alamos nuclear facility, and that in 1989 he was approached about a secret government research project and flown to Area 51. Lazar initially thought the spaceship had been developed by the U.S. military.
They said, this is an alien craft and we want to be able to duplicate it and we want to know how the thing works.
As the senior staff physicist, Lazar was in charge of analyzing the ship's propulsion system.
Here was an incredibly complex system. There was nothing even as simple as wiring connecting subsystems together. So it operated more like magic. Every single waste thing that was going on was being utilized by something else. So it was, for all intents and purposes, completely perfect.
Over the next few months, Lazar and his team made little progress in understanding how the craft worked.
We were dealing with something that could have some just fantastic impact, but at the time we didn't even have the slightest chance on how to duplicate the system or really even understand what was going on.
It wasn't your typical day job. Lazar would get called into work erratically, sometimes late at night. After 6 months, the calls stopped coming. Lazar told a few close friends about his experience, and then things got scary.
They started following me around more than usual. And friends that I hung around, they even started noticing people following us around. And I started getting a little concerned, thinking, am I all of a sudden going to get wiped out in some way? And this really started looking like a Mission Impossible episode.
Lazar claims he went public with his story to protect himself. But many people, like UFO expert Stanton Friedman, don't buy any of it, calling Lazar a fraud.
He isn't a nuclear physicist. He doesn't have a degree from anywhere. Didn't go to MIT or Caltech, as he claimed. That he didn't work for Los Alamos. He worked at Los Alamos for a subcontractor.
But Lazar insists that the government deleted all of his academic and professional files.
They've gone to great lengths to discredit everything that I've said, and successfully so in many respects. Something they always told me, it's one of the easiest things to keep secret because it's so unbelievable. And that really is true. If I heard this story from somebody else, I don't think I'd buy it. It's pretty far-fetched.
Only the government knows for certain if Bob Lazar's story is fact or fiction. But the truth is out there. Coming up, a very close encounter of the third kind.
Their features were small except for the eyes, and the eyes were huge.
And later, could increased sightings around the world suggest we're due for an official visit?
I have a sense that there's still more to come. It's not over. It's not over.
Three hours north of Phoenix, the small town of Snowflake lies at the edge of Arizona's White Mountain region. A popular destination for camping, fishing, hiking, and skiing. This high-altitude area enjoys plenty of sunshine year-round. But you don't want to be stranded on these mountains on a cold, dark night. Just ask Travis Walton. Born and raised in Snowflake, he's still haunted by his intimate encounter with alien beings more than 30 years ago.
For years after the incident, it occupied my every thought all the time. It was something I just couldn't shake out of my mind.
At the time, Travis was 22 and working on a logging crew in the Sitgreaves National Forest, just outside of town. On November 5th, 1975, the team of 7 men piled into a pickup truck after a long day's work and headed home just after dusk.
We're coming down this road, and we saw some glimmers of light coming through the trees off to the side, up ahead. We were thinking, well, maybe a forest fire or maybe an airplane had crashed and was hanging up there in the trees or something, because it was just something really very strange.
As the men got closer to the source of the light, they all fell silent.
We looked off to the right side, and we saw this object. This was less than 100 feet away, this glowing metallic object hovering there, outlined against the sky. Just the most incredible thing we'd seen. Somebody yelled out, "It's a spaceship." I mean, it was just incredible. And I yelled, "Stop the truck."
To the horror of the other men, Walton got out of the vehicle.
And they started yelling at me to stop and get back in the truck. But at that point, you know, the way I was back then, you young guys, I was kind of showing off for the crew.
He walked slowly towards the mysterious craft until he was almost underneath it.
I was just standing there looking up at this thing, and I could feel this vibration coming from it, the sound. It's just a strange mixture of high-frequency tones and this low rumble that you could feel more than hear, actually. It was like reflecting light at the same time it was giving off light. Suddenly it rose up a little bit, and the sound kind of got louder, and it started making this sort of rocking motion. And those guys just, "Get out of here, let's go, let's go." So I just decided I was going to make a dash for it, and I raised up and turned to go, and wham! I just felt this shock hit me, and it's kind of like an electrical shock. It's just this numbing sort of thing, and I was just unconscious. But the guy said that this a blast of energy come out of the bottom of this thing, and it just lit up the whole area, just almost blinding. And they said it just picked me up and threw me back through the air. And they said my body went so far and landed so limp, they just thought it killed me.
In a frenzy of fear, the crew took off, leaving Travis behind.
A lot of people criticize these guys, you know, how come they didn't stop and save their friend? But, you know, we